The Flying Anvil, April 17th, 1943. 23,000 feet above Rabaul, New Britain. Lieutenant Saburo Sakai banks his Zero left, scanning the sky with the practiced eye of a man who survived 64 aerial combats. The morning sun glints off his canopy as he leads his flight of 9 A6M fighters on patrol. Below, the volcanic peaks of New Britain jut through patches of cloud. Above, nothing but empty blue. Then he sees it, a dark speck, growing larger. Then another, and another. As the shapes resolve, Sakai actually laughs into his radio. The sound crackles across the channel to his wingmen, who join in the amusement. They're looking at Republic P-47 Thunderbolts, the newest American fighter, to arrive in the Pacific Theater, and they are enormous. Sakai has been briefed on these machines. 7 tons of metal, engine, and ammunition. The Americans call it the Jug, short for Juggernaut. But to Sakai, watching these massive fighters lumber through the sky, they look like flying anvils. His Zero weighs less than 6,000 pounds fully loaded. The P-47 weighs nearly 3 times that. The math seems absurd. How could something that heavy possibly threaten the Zero fighter that has dominated Pacific skies for 2 years? Sakai's Zero can turn inside any plane the Americans have thrown at them so far. The Wildcat, too slow. The Lightning, too stiff. In a dogfight, the Zero's legendary maneuverability has meant survival. Japanese pilots have been trained since the earliest days of the war. Let the Americans make the first pass, then turn inside them. Every American fighter bleeds energy in a turn. The Zero doesn't. It's a formula that has worked for 20 months. Sakai arms his guns and rolls toward the lead Thunderbolt. Behind him, his flight follows, settling into a loose combat spread. This will be easy. Get below the American formation, pull them into a turning fight, and watch the massive P-47s tree and fail to follow the nimble Zeros through their paces. The lead Thunderbolt is piloted by Captain Robert Johnson, a 22-year-old from Lawton, Oklahoma. He's only been in theater for 3 weeks. This is his 8th combat mission. Johnson sees the Zeros climbing toward his formation. Ikon's 9's flight has 6 Thunderbolts. The numbers favor the Japanese. But Johnson isn't worried. He's learned something in his short time flying the P-47. Something the Japanese haven't figured out yet. Something that's about to rewrite the rules of air combat in the Pacific. Johnson keys his radio. Stay high. Don't follow them down. His wingman acknowledge. They hold altitude at 23,000 feet and watch the Zeros climb toward them. The Japanese fighters are nimble, weaving through the air with an almost casual grace. They look like sharks circling prey. Sakai pulls his Zero into firing position, 800 yards behind Johnson's Thunderbolt. He expects the American to do what all American pilots do, either run or turn to meet him. Johnson does neither. Instead, the massive Thunderbolt climbs. Not a shallow climb. Not a gradual ascent. A near-vertical zoom that seems to defy physics. Sakai's eyes widen. He pulls back on his stick, trying to follow. His Zero's nose lifts, but almost immediately, the aircraft shudders. The controls go mushy. At this altitude, in this thin air, the Zero can't sustain a vertical climb without bleeding all its airspeed. Sakai's fighter stalls. For a terrifying moment, the Zero hangs motionless in the sky, suspended between Earth and heaven, its propeller clawing at air too thin to grip. Above, Johnson's Thunderbolt continues, climbing, accelerating as if the laws of aerodynamics have been suspended for American pilots only. Sakai recovers, pushing his nose down to regain airspeed. His breathing is sharp inside his oxygen mask. He's never seen anything like this. How is that possible? How can a fighter that weighs 3 times as much as his Zero outclimb him? Johnson reaches 27,000 feet and rolls inverted, looking down through his canopy at the Zeros below. They're floundering, trying to regain altitude, their formation scattered. He grins and pushes the stick forward. The secret in the supercharger, the Thunderbolt drops like a meteor. Johnson's airspeed indicator needle swings past 400 miles per hour, then 450. The whole aircraft vibrates with speed deep, thrumming power that he can feel through the stick, through the seat, through his bones. Below him, Sakai sees the diving Thunderbolt and makes a split-second calculation. The American is coming in fast too fast. He'll overshoot, and when he does, when he tries to turn back around, that massive weight will betray him. The P-47 will wallow through the turn like a transport plane, and Sakai will be waiting. It's happened before with every other American fighter. Johnson opens fire at 400 yards. 8.50 caliber machine guns erupt simultaneously. The combined recoil actually slows the Thunderbolt's dive. Brass casings stream from the wings in glittering arcs. Tracers draw lines of fire through the morning air. Sakai brakes hard right, his Zero snapping into a tight defensive turn that would rip the wings off most aircraft. He pulls 6 Gs. His vision tunnels at the edges, gray creeping in from the periphery, but he stays conscious, and his Zero stays intact. The Americans call this maneuver the Zero's party trick, a turn so tight it seems to bend reality. Johnson doesn't try to follow. Instead, he pulls up hard, converting all that dive speed into altitude. The Thunderbolt's nose climbs toward vertical again. The J-force has slammed Johnson into his seat. His vision grays, but the Pratt and Whitney R280 engine keeps roaring, and the turbo-supercharger keeps feeding it compressed air. That supercharger is the secret. Axialeva, the P-47 is good. Fast, tough, heavily armed. But nothing special in a turning fight. But up here, above 20,000 feet, where the air is thin and most engines gasp for oxygen, the Thunderbolt's turbo-supercharger comes alive. The Zeo has no supercharger. At this altitude, its Sakai engine produces barely 60% of its rated power. Every climb bleeds energy the Zero can't recover. Every vertical maneuver is a gamble with gravity. Johnson levels out at 28,000 feet and looks down. Desetos are 5,000 feet below him now. Still trying to climb, still trying to reach the altitude where this fight would be on their terms. And now Johnson has all the advantages: altitude, speed, and an aircraft that's just getting started while theirs are gasping. He rolls inverted again and selects another target. Sakai watches the Thunderbolt dive a second time, and a cold realization settles over him like frost. They can't catch these planes, not up. The Zero's legendary maneuverability means nothing if they can't force the Americans to turn. And the Americans aren't turning. They are reclimbing and diving using the vertical plane like it as a weapon itself, and the Zeros simply cannot follow. Sakai keys his radio. Break off. Descend to 15,000 feet. His flight scatters, diving away from the Thunderbolts, seeking the lower altitudes where their Zeros can breathe, where the equation might balance out. But Johnson's flight follows them down. And that's when the second surprise hits. Lieutenant Kenji Okabe pulls his Zero into a hard defensive spiral, corkscrewing toward the ocean far below. It's a desperation move, trade altitude for survival. Hope the American breaks off. Hope the chase becomes too long to sustain. Behind him, Second Lieutenant Frank Hill's Thunderbolt follows. Okabe's spiral is tight, impossibly tight. 4 Gs. Then 5. The Zero is built for this. Reinforced for maneuvers that would fold American fighters like paper, Hill doesn't try to match the spiral's tightness. Instead, he does something unexpected. He rolls his Thunderbolt 90 degrees wings perpendicular to the earth and pulls. Not horizontally like a normal turn, but vertically, cutting across the inside of Okabe's spiral, like a cord across a circle. The P-47's enormous control surfaces ailerons, the size of barn doors, a rudder like a billboard light into the air. The aircraft pivots around its vertical axis with shocking precision. For a brief moment, Hill's Thunderbolt is flying sideways, still descending, still tracking the Zero. Okabe sees it happening and can't believe it. The P-47 shouldn't be able to do that. It's too heavy, too but Republic aircraft engineer Alexander Cardvelli designed those oversized control surfaces for exactly this purpose. The Thunderbolt can't turn tightly in a horizontal plane, not like a Zero, but it can roll faster than any fighter in the sky. And those massive control surfaces give it authority even when the airframe is doing things that should be impossible. Hill rolls back, pulls lead, and fires. The burst is short, maybe 2 seconds. But 8 50 caliber guns firing simultaneously put 160 rounds into the air per second. The math is brutal. Okabe's Zero shudders as rounds punch through the thin aluminum skin. One hits the fuel tank, another severs a control cable. The Zero doesn't explode, not immediately. It simply starts to come apart in midair, pieces of wing and fuselage peeling away like paper in a wind tunnel. Okabe bails out at 8,000 feet, his parachute blossoming white against the blue. Hill climbs back to altitude to rejoin his formation. The entire engagement has lasted 4 minutes. Sakai watches from a distance as more of his pilots eject from crippled Zeros. His radio is chaos-panicked voices, contradicting orders, the sound of men realizing their aircraft are obsolete. He looks up and sees Johnson's flight of 6 Thunderbolts circling at 26,000 feet. Waiting. Untouchable. The myth breaks. Sakai pushes his throttle forward and climbs. It's a decision born from pride more than tactics. He's one of the Japanese Navy's highest-scoring aces, 64 confirmed kills. He's survived attacks by entire squadrons. He once flew 560 miles with a bullet lodged in his skull. He refuses to believe a 7-ton American fighter can dominate the Zero. There has to be a weakness. There always is. His Zero claws for altitude. Engine screaming. At 21,000 feet, he spots Johnson's Thunderbolt, breaking away from the formation coming down to meet him. Sakai smiles grimly inside his oxygen mask. Finally, a 1-in-1 engagement. Pilot against pilot, the way it should be. Johnson sees the lone Zero climbing and recognizes the trap immediately. The Japanese pilot, his good as climb angle is perfect, his speed precisely managed. He's trying to bait Johnson into a head-on pass, then use the Zero's superior turning radius to get on Johnson's tail during the merge. It's a tactic that's killed dozens of American pilots. Johnson doesn't take the bait. Instead, he climbs past Sakai's altitude, overshooting by 3,000 feet. From above, he watches the Zero reach 24,000 feet and level out, the Japanese pilot scanning for his target. Sakai looks up and sees the Thunderbolt silhouetted against the sun, too high. The Americans have figured it out. They're not fighting the Zero's fight anymore. They're forcing the Zero to fight the Thunderbolt's fight, and at this altitude. The fight is already over before it begins. Johnson rolls, inverted and dives. Sakai brakes left, pulling his Zero through a crushing 9G turn that grays out his vision and forces blood from his brain. His aircraft responds instantly. The Zero's featherlight controls, making the maneuver feel effortless, despite the J-forces trying to tear him apart. But Johnson doesn't follow the turn. He pulls up, converting his dive speed into another vertical climb, rising above Sakai's turning circle like a falcon climbing above its prey. At the top of the climb, he rolls, acquires Sakai's Zero again, and dives a second time. It's called Bumanzoom dive. Shoot, climb, never turn, never bleed energy in a horizontal fight. The tactic is as old as aerial combat itself, but it requires an aircraft that can climb after diving an aircraft that can regain altitude faster than the enemy can reposition. The Zeron can't. Every time Sakai turns to evade, Johnson climbs. Every time Sakai tries to climb to follow, Johnson's altitude advantage keeps him unreachable. And every 15 seconds, Johnson dives again, his 8 machine guns stitching the air where Sakai was a heartbeat before. Sakai is fighting perfectly. His situational awareness is flawless. His energy management is textbook. His turns are executed with the precision of a man who's survived 100 dogfights. None of it matters. After the 4th diving attack, Sakai's Zero is down to 18,000 feet. His airspeed is dangerously low. His fuel is dropping below half. And Johnson is still above him, still untouched. Circling like a bird of prey that has all the time in the world, Sakai makes a decision that will haunt him for the rest of his life. Adibis Hawaii, not tactically, not as part of a maneuver. Eruns, the Zero's nose drops, and Sakai pushes his throttle to maximum, trading every foot of altitude for speed, racing toward the cloud layer 10,000 feet below. His radio is silent, his breathing is ragged. Behind him, Johnson watches the Zero flee and doesn't pursue. There's no need. He's already proven the point. 300 miles southwest, at Guadalcanal's Henderson Field. The intelligence officers are gathering reports from returning pilots. The claims seem impossible at first. Thunderbolts outturning Zeros at altitude, climbing vertically without stalling, pursuing Japanese fighters through defensive maneuvers that should have been impossible to follow. Major John Mitchell, the squadron commander, reads the after-action reports with growing disbelief. Then, excitement. Get this to Colonel Vasilio. Immediately, he tells his adjutant and send a message to 5th Air Force Headquarters. Tell them the P-47 works. It works. The message that reaches General George Kenney's desk 3 hours later is brief. Thunderbolt units engaging A6M Zeros above 20,000 feet report total tactical superiority. Enemy aircraft unable to maintain altitude or follow vertical maneuvers. Request immediate deployment of additional P-47 squadrons to theater. Kenney reads it twice. Then he picks up the phone to call Washington. The Pentagon has been hesitant about sending more Thunderbolts to the Pacific. The prevailing wisdom says the European theater needs them more, that the P-47's high-altitude capabilities are better suited for bomber escort over Germany than dogfighting in the tropics. But this changes everything. If the Thunderbolt can dominate the Zero at altitude, if it can turn the tables on the most successful fighter in the Pacific, then the entire strategic equation shifts. Within 2 weeks, 3 more P-47 squadrons received deployment orders. Within a month, Republic Aviation's production lines are running 3 shifts, 24 hours a day. The factory workers in Farmingdale, New York, don't know why. Demand just doubled. They just know the orders keep coming, urgent and insistent, marked with priority codes they've never seen before. In the Pacific, Japanese pilots are filing their own reports. The language is different, but the message is the same. The Americans have a new fighter. Do not engage above 20,000 feet.